Hey, it's been a bit of time since the last time we spoke. Again, I think this is just going to be my staple intro from now on. This is the big update I wanted to do on a monthly basis, even though it's probably not a month since the last one, but who cares? So over the course of the past 2-3 weeks, I have been working on the Unity Essential Pathways, which are the things that allow you to learn how to use Unity as a beginner on the list. And I have recently finished the very first pathway, which is the Unity Essentials Pathways, which basically taught me how to use the engine and everything that relates to just being able to make a simple game in the end. So what I wanted to do was to show you what I've learned. Hi there. I ended up, when I first started this, I knew nothing about Unity, or next to nothing, since I did various tutorials here and there, and then stopped using Unity for a while, came back, not really seriously worked on it, basically. So what I did is that I created this after the first time I basically opened Unity as a challenge, due to the fact that basically every time you end a lesson pack, let's say, in these pathways, you end up having to do a challenge. So what I did is this. So I created this simple level using what I had learned from Unity, where you just have to take this ball right there and make it move through railways until it reaches a goal. Normally you were just supposed to do a simple loop, but I decided to go a little bit more crazy and did this sort of broken pathways in the middle of lava, etc. So if I just swap into the game view, this looks like this. This was the very first thing that I made once I started to get the very, very basics of Unity. Oh, that was the thing that... 1 second. This is the very first thing I did. So you can see the ball, just like the challenge asked, is rolling through the railways without touching the ground, because the challenge name was "The floor is lava." So this is where I was at the start. Later on, I then started to continue on my mission and then learn the various points of Explore Unity, which are all of the main things that allows you to actually create a mini game with it. So roughly around here, I ended up creating the challenge, which was to create a pachinko, where there are basically, if you don't know what a pachinko is, it's balls falling in between obstacles and hitting the bottom in one of the slots. So what I did is this. I created this thumbnail myself. I probably put it in the montage so you can see it properly, but I did this myself. And I created a little pachinko that I called Moonfall, because it sounds cool, where it's basically ships falling in between planets, and I made sure that the loop can be infinite, with the ships respawning when they hit the bottom to the top, all while making sure they couldn't get stuck in between planets. So that was where I was, roughly midway into my journey. So as you're going to see, I also learned how to use music at that point, as you can clearly hear. And yeah, through test and trial and error, I managed to create a system that allows these ships to never get stuck, because they bounce off the planets, bounce off one another, and there are also bouncers that you can see here that I've added, so that when a ship actually hits over there or there, it's forced to bounce back into the level. As you can see, it looks stuck. Those 4 stuck. But as soon as one of the ships gets there, boom. And so the loop is infinite. Also the background that moves, of course. So this was where I was mid-journey. This is where I started to understand a bit more about what I was doing with my life. And thus, most recently, I ended up finishing the full essentials completely and got to the last points, which were about mostly managing projects, all of that, which is kind of important considering what has been until now. So yeah, it doesn't show as completed here because it's cringe, very cringe. I just sent a ticket because I want the badge. The badge is good because it helps in my motivation, but yeah, it's fully finished but it's bugged, so cringe gaming. Once I had learned all of that, once I could understand how to actually create something in Unity, I decided to go back to the very first tutorial that exists on Unity, which is the wall a ball. Now, if you've ever tried to actually test Unity, this will be the very first thing that you will have ever seen. Basically, the goal is just to take a ball and make it roll around. Let me take this guy project. You want to take the ball, move it around, and get the various collectibles. And when you reach the end of the collectibles, when you have all of them, you win. So this is roughly what the challenge was all about. It was one of the very earliest, if not the very first tutorial on Unity. And so I decided to come back and make a rollable project, but this time using everything that I have learned. So right now, using the various scripting that I learned, models, etc., I have made this, which is a fully working level, a fully working game, and that has almost all of the features that I wanted in it. The only thing that it doesn't have is the ability to move the camera. And the big difference with the two previous projects is that this one is actually built, which means that you can actually play it by yourself. So there is music. When I touch a collectible, it does sound. You can see there is a score up on the left. And since Radeon stopped being retarded, you can also see that I have added lives, which means that there is now the possibility of having a game over, which wasn't a part of the original things, nor was really any of the things that you have in it. The original thing, I'd probably show a clip of what it was. None of this was in, so I added all of this myself using the script and the various skills that I learned. So yeah. I also made it so that you can't actually win by getting all of the collectibles. You only win by getting to the goal. The collectibles simply increase your score. So you can see the various level design and game design that I tried to do in order to make things a little more interesting and challenging in this point, for instance. I'm such a god gamer. So yeah, you can you'll be able to go play this because I'll link it below the video if you want to download and test it for yourself. There's only one level in it for now, but it's where my skills currently lie at the moment. And go. And then it restarts. And of course, since you can't actually, I don't know how to make a menu for now, so I simply looked up how to quit the game easily, and if you hit this, the game quits. So yeah, this is where I am at the moment. I have learned enough to be able to create a mini game like this. And I am now going to move on to the second pathways, which is going to be focused on actual scripting, so coding in C#, which is what I was missing the most from for the SOTML project. Also, speaking of the SOTML project, based on everything that I've learned so far and seen, I can say that the SOTML project is a tad ambitious. I already said that several times, but it's a tad ambitious for a beginner. But once I have learned everything that I need to know from the essential pathways, I will most certainly be able to actually make the game. So I definitely will have to go through the entirety of the junior programmer missions, and they are set to last 12 weeks, but it's based on 4 to 5 hours per week or so. And since I have a lot of free time on my hands, enough to get depressed on the list, I am going to be going way faster than that because I'm learning very quickly. Like the Wallable tutorial, I turned into this after just learning the essentials. So I believe that I'll be able to have this done hopefully before the end of the month. So I'm basically going to try to do this 3 times faster than they actually are presenting it. We'll see if I manage to do so, but still. And as for SOTML, I have also learned a lot of project management in the essentials, so I can actually know how to manage a game project properly and like release it, which has been a big problem with goddamn SOTML. So yeah, I am hoping to get this kick-started by the start of the next month, which is June, if I'm not retarded. Yep. So starting from June, I hope I'll be able to go on ahead and advance on SOTML enough to produce an MVP. So basically the same as something like this, but for SOTML. And if everything goes well, I'm hoping to put that in your hand in the month of June. I'll actually make another big update once I'm done with the Learn to Code, Essentials, Pathways, Words. But worst case scenario, things should start working and advancing professionally, since I'm learning professional skills right now, in June, July. That's about all I wanted to say. And also, yeah, I will be updating this game right there with the thing that I learned, and in the end I'll probably release it as an actual full game on GameJolt. Because why not? It'll be the first official game of CZ Studios. A little mini set of mini games that gets more and more complex as time goes on, where you control a ball and you have to go to the end of the level while getting as much as high of a score as possible. So yeah, I hope you have a nice day, I hope you have a nice night. I still despise your existence, as always, and I'll see you roughly in a month. Good night.